one thing, we often cover, on Film Courage, we often talk about, one horror story or another that comes up through distribution, and you have your own horror story with the way it was originally distributed, and you kind of covered a little bit. I just wondered if you could talk any more about the frustrations of the original release in Wake in Fright, and then maybe contrast that with what's happening now with the film.
Well, I think if the distributor doesn't believe in your film, and United Artists didn't believe in it, they thought, why should we spend money advertising a film? We're never going to get the money that we're spending on publicity back. And so and if you don't spend money in a film, and people are not aware of the film, it's 99% that it's going to fail. And it is, of course, it hurts. I'm not going to lie to you and say it didn't hurt. It hurt. After all, you spend over a year in a picture, and you give it all, and you give it all, and also it got good reviews, which was, I guess, whether that softened the blow, I don't know. Like Pauline Kael gave me a very good review. She was the doyen of film critics at that time. Christopher Isherwood, the writer, gave it a great review. Rex Reed chose it as one of the 10 best of 1971. So it got terrific reviews. So I guess that at least made me feel a bit better. But no, you want obviously you make a film for an audience, or an audience to come and see it. You want to share it with them. And if they don't come, it was a blow. But of course, I was young, energetic, and I got on to the next film. I made a Western with Gregory Peck right afterwards. And I made The Punishment of Denny Kravitz right afterwards. So I was hopping on one film to another at the time. So the wound healed very quickly, or it got forgotten, but there was just a scar there. Oh well, But I never thought it would ever come back to life, Although, do you know what the other thing that I was very moved by was the support of the Australian directors. Fred Skepsey, Bruce Beresford, Peter Weir, the three greats of Australian filmmaking, all came to me afterwards, like recently, and said, we saw that film a long time ago when you first made it, and you don't realize what you affected all of us. We all got inspired by you, because up to that time we thought, you can't make good films here, you got to go to Hollywood. And suddenly we saw this film that, oh my God, you can make interesting films in Australia. So it inspired them, and they all traced, rightly or wrongly, they traced the renaissance of Australian films to my film, Wake in Fright. And so that was very gratifying for me to think that way back then, I didn't know it, but I had affected. What's interesting about filmmaking is also the long-term repercussions sometimes of a film that you're not even aware of, And I found it very gratifying that they were inspired by it. But now suddenly we have a distributor who loves the film. They love it, and they're going to not only show it in New York like they did last time, but in 37 major American cities. So now I have the audience that I never had before. It's going to go all across America. Detroit, Chicago, you name it, Dallas, Houston, and of course next week in Los Angeles. But you've got to have the enthusiasm of the distributor, otherwise you're dead.
And so, do you feel like with the original release that you should have been more part of the release, or is distribution, is that just something that's just left to the distributors? And have you had any more involvement with the current release?
Well, yeah, the current Draft House, the current distributor of the film, they brought me to New York. They laid on endless number of interviews on television, on newspapers and magazines, radio, and of course that all helps when the film is brought to attention. And this time, when it got good reviews, they broadcast the film. They put it, they used it in the advertising, quotes from Martin Scorsese and the Sunday New York Times, Rex Reed. They used those and other reviews. So if you have that enthusiasm, they try to bring the audience the attention of people in New York to come and see the film. So far, it's been sold out. Can't ask for anything more, can you, David?
And how many screenings will you attend? Are you only attending screenings in Los Angeles, or do you have plans to go to some other cities?
No, I did the first 2 screenings in New York. I mean, the first 2, the 7:30 screenings,
Yeah.
On last Friday and Saturday. And I did an introduction, and then I did a Q&A afterwards. And we're going to do 2 here in Los Angeles next on October the 19th, Friday and Saturday the 20th. And we'll do the same thing, introduce the film and answer any queries and people and discuss the film. So far there hasn't been there hasn't been any request to go to Detroit and Chicago. But listen, if I was asked, I would go. But because obviously I want to help the film as much as possible.